NBC's coverage of the Tropicana 400 is brought to you by Tropicana Pure Premium. Nothing but the juice. Tropicana Pure Premium. By Mobil 1, official motor oil of NASCAR. And by Singular, the wireless company that fits you best.
In the Chicago suburb of Joliet, Illinois, some 75,000 have filled every seat of the Chicagoland Speedway for the third running of the Tropicana 400. Field of cars sitting on pit road. They'll be rolling off for their parade and pace laps shortly.
65!
Check out the Bud Pole Award. Tony Stewart won his first pole of the season in Friday qualifying in new track record time, growing a list of drivers qualified for next February's Budweiser Shootout by one more. Since 1979, Anheuser-Busch has paid out more than $8 million as title sponsor of NASCAR's Pole Award program. Field rolling off onto the racetrack. Check out the starting lineup for you for today's Tropicana 400. Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, sharing row number 1 in a pair of Chevrolets. A couple of Dodgers in row 2. Bill Elliott, former Winston Cup champion, and the rookie Casey Mears. And while we look through the rest of the starting lineup, Jimmie Johnson's lined up in row 3. He's going to have to drop to the tail of the field because they changed an engine. Wally, you want to try and ring him up?
Let's give him a try. Hey, Jimmie Johnson, this is Wally up at the NBC booth. Can you hear me?
Yep, gotcha.
Well, with all the bad luck you guys have had, you probably didn't want to get out of the motorhome this morning.
Yeah, we've had our share of bad luck, but that's just the way this year's been, and we'll just give what we can. This is racing. You guys know that anything that can happen will happen. But I'm just lucky to have a group of great guys and Hendrick Motorsports behind me in Lowe's. And it doesn't matter. We know what we need to do. We're going to go out fun today and make it interesting from the back.
Watched your car yesterday in final practice, Jimmy. Even after you did the damage to the left front fender, your car looked awfully good. Can you keep this thing on the bottom all day?
Everybody's going to be at the bottom here at the beginning. Hopefully I can get a lane to move around on the top, but the bottom is probably going to be the preferred line, especially early in the run. Hopefully we'll get a second groove and have some fun.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you.
Jimmie Johnson scheduled to start 6th. Because of NASCAR's one engine per weekend rule, will have to drop to the back after they had a little mechanical trouble in Saturday morning practice. Also, Larry Foyt will give up 31st starting position and drop to the rear of the field because of an engine change. There's Larry there in row 16. And Derek Cope, scheduled to start in the 25th position, will also go to the back. He had a final practice crash yesterday, and they had to pull out the backup car.
Robbie Gordon, the winner at Sears Point, back in row 18 alongside Benson, and Ricky Rudd talked to the Wood brothers this morning. Felt very good about their 21 car.
Those who got into the race on provisionals coming past you here. And the final starter in the field, Ken Schrader, who was a tad uncomfortable Friday during qualifying, hoping he was going to make the race. One driver failed to make the show, Jason Keller, in an effort for Chance 2 Racing, the team that Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Teresa Earnhardt own. Not quite able to get into the field. Let's get some stories from pit road while they make the pace and parade laps. Marty, what do you got?
Alan, no one placed a larger red circle on the calendar around this race than Ryan Newman and his bunch. With 15 to go last year in this race, they cut a right front tire while they were leading. Excited to get back here. He brought one of his best cars, the same car that won at Dover. Ryan hoping for another win today, hoping to cash in on a win that is 1 year overdue, according to them. Matt?
Marty, starting in 1999, the Gibbs guys have finished either first or second in the championship points. This year, Coach Gibbs thinks the 18 team has the best chance to keep that streak alive. 75 points out of second coming into Chicago. In fact, Bobby Labonte's been on such a roll. Last 9 races, 6 top 3 finishes. He rolls off 18 today. They have a car just as equal as the pole sitter, Dave.
Well, Matt, on Friday morning, Kurt Busch crashed a very good race car right at Chicagoland, but the worst part was that it happened in the very final practice before qualifying. They had to pull out the backup car and qualify it really without any practice laps on it and could only do 32nd best. Now, I talked to the team this morning. They said they changed more things than they really had time to even talk about, but they said we've got 2 things that no other team has: Kurt Busch and crew chief Jimmy Fennig. Bill?
Dave, it's not just what happens here on pit road, but how you get onto pit road that can affect your finish. In this race 1 year ago, a number of guys had trouble doing just that. This is a very fast racetrack, and the transition to pit road can be very tricky. Guys have to be careful getting on pit road and then careful getting into their stall. Last year, Sterling Marlin came here as the leader in the championship standings, overshot his stall, the car was serviced, he was held, lost a lap. The championship leader finished the first car 1 lap down. What happens here can affect who gets out there to the finish line first. Alan.
Okay, Bill, we're on the final scheduled pace lap, although they have just dispatched a safety vehicle to make a quick inspection of turn number 2. Jeff Gordon's team apparently radioed in, said Jeff was a little concerned about there being some excess dust up in the high lane of turn 2, and since that's where he's going to start on lap 1, he might be the one to be concerned about it.
You see the air temperature here today at 81 degrees, a gorgeous day in the Chicago area. Here in Joliet.
No rain in the forecast, should be a good race, and 267 laps around this 1.5-mile track to make up the 400-mile distance. There's the track inspection going on. Monitoring NASCAR's radio traffic from race control to Buster Otten, the driver of the pace car, and he has just said all clear on his part, and the word is we're coming to the green. So on a track where the second lane has not been all that usable in past years, you're starting in that outside lane. How concerned are you here going barreling off into turn 1?
I don't think you're as concerned as you would have been last year or the first year here, because they're obviously the groove that we talked about earlier is wider. There is traction up there. You're still going to be trying to get to the bottom of the racetrack, but I think it's safe up there.
And we see the analysis pit window. That is crucial. If you can run 66, 67 laps, that's okay. If you can only run 60 like some of the teams can, you've got a problem, because this race might be won on fuel mileage.
75,000 on their feet on beautifully sunny skies overhead. We're coming down to the start of the 3rd Tropicana 400 at Chicagoland.
Jeff Gordon made a run for that lead, but it did not work out, and he's losing spots. He's back to 5th. Challenge for 5th.
How about Jeremy Mayfield 3 wide into turn 3 on the bottom and picked up 2 spots at once. Tony Stewart leads lap 1. Bill Elliott 2nd. Jeremy Mayfield 3rd. Casey Mears 4th. Elliott Sadler 5th. Then Jeff Gordon in 6th, and side by side from 7th on back. Here's Gordon on Elliott Sadler for 5th.
On board with Kevin Harvick back in the 10th position as he tries to close in on Greg Biffle.
Jamie McMurray's been up there on the high line for his last couple laps. He seems to be hanging right there.
Jamie McMurray, one of 11 drivers who ran yesterday's NASCAR Busch Series race here, and is also in the field for today's race. That's McMurray in the 42.
And he just took the spot on the high side.
Well, that's impressive. Now he's going to track Gordon on the outside. Oh, Martin slow in the 6th car.
Was 13th last lap by BP.
He's still running, not coming to pit lane.
And the car looks like it's up to speed. He might have slipped off turn 2.
19th now, lost 6 spots that lap.
Now, we talked about if you got out of the groove, there isn't a whole lot of traction up there, and it takes a little bit to get those tires cleaned back off if you do get in the marbles.
He got out of the gas early there to let Rusty by.
Yeah, evidently there's something that Mark doesn't like about that 6 car right now.
Heard a lot of guys talking in the garage this morning that I spoke with about loose getting in, that this racetrack is well noted for it, and it's extremely uncomfortable. Talk about that.
It's terrifying on a racetrack like this, because you drive in so fast, you're carrying so much speed here as we watch the mile per hours. I mean, 194, 195 mile an hour. And when you jump out of the gas, the car wants to turn sideways. So you got to be very careful when you get in the corners. You do everything you can to tighten that car up getting in. But you don't want to get it too tight, because this car, the racetrack is one of those tracks where if you get it too tight, getting in the corner, you can't even turn coming up off the corner.
Marty, what's going on with Mark Martin?
Well, Mark said nothing on the radio, BP. Ben Leslie's best guess is that the car was just a little loose. I asked if that was sticker tires that he started the race with. They are indeed scuff tires. A lot of times when you have sticker tires on, especially here at a racetrack like Chicagoland, it's a little bit slick, but he does have on scuff tires. Ben just thinks the car's a little loose right now.
Jimmy Spencer, 7 car, getting a spot on Jeff Green in the 1. That'll be 16th place, and here comes Rusty Wallace in the deuce.
Talked to Bill Weber and the crew chief on the 2 car this morning, and they made a landmark decision this weekend. Rusty Wallace is running a heavier right rear spring than he's ever raced in his life. They finally got Rusty to stiffen up that right rear, trying to keep that spoiler up in the air, also trying to help the car come off the corner. Takes him that wedge out of the car coming off the corner.
Put them back on Rusty from Jimmy Spencer's car. And again, that is 16th and 17th places now. And Kenseth right behind them. And up ahead, McMurray's got it going on. 42 car picking up 4th place. Started in 10th. Check his lap times here. He looks like he's really flying.
Well, he had to pass somebody that lap, so.
Yeah. 99 and 1, Jeff Burton and Jeff Green, respectively. This is 19th and 20th positions. Talked with us during our coverage of the NASCAR Busch Series race yesterday here on NBC. Felt like his team really beginning to turn a corner after struggling for a lot of this season.
Struggled all last year, so it's been a 1.5-year struggle for the 99 car. But yes, they are very optimistic that they have turned the corner and things are starting to turn around for the 99.
Saw Matt Kenseth get by the Spencer car. Now Jeff Burton getting by Spencer. And next to fill the hole to the inside, Jeff Green in the 1. Fair to say Spencer's struggling a little bit there. Jimmy started 21st, and he gained a few positions in the opening laps. He's about shuffled back to where he began. As always, during our NASCAR on NBC coverage, if something happens while we're in a break, we'll come out immediately right back to the racetrack and show it to you live. For now, you're watching NASCAR on NBC.